You mentioned artificial intelligence earlier, and there's a lot happening in that space at the time of this recording, Feb 2023. ChatGPT is transforming the way we search for content. A lot of people are using it to create content, but my experience of ChatGPT is it creates what I would describe as fairly bland content. But I use ChatGPT to do research. It's the best free research assistant I've come across. At the moment, it's free. And I ask it questions. For example, what do seven-figure small business owners struggle with and what keeps them up at night? And it'll give me an answer, and then I iterate. So I riff with it, and I use it as a brainstorming tool to dive deeper and deeper. And all it's really doing is helping me in not having to scroll through 100 different websites to come up with the information, and just speeds up my research. It's also great for idea discovery, idea creation, as long as you are focused on your customer and the problem your customer is trying to solve, or your target audience. I would say it's garbage in, garbage out. So the quality of the questions you can ask ChatGPT determines the quality of help it can give you. Would you agree?
100%. And this is where a lot of people right now, they'll put in a surface level question, they'll get a surface level answer and go, it's not that good. It's not quite there yet. And I mean, we've all heard that the people that can master those inputs, master the questions, are the ones that are really going to be ahead when these things become so much more popular. But there's also an element of training for these things, as you probably found as well. Like if you're just asking a question without giving it much context or training, or people are getting it to try and write an article without it even learning their voice, or without having context, then you're going to be hit and miss, I guess, with your results, because it doesn't have the data to pull from in terms of what you're actually after. Because there's so many different ways you could write an article, right? And you can actually pick a voice of different people and it will mimic that for you. But if you're not giving it that information, or you're not giving it your voice, then it's going to be very hard to get something that you'll be absolutely pumped on as something that you could use without a lot of tweaking and adjustment. A lot of people aren't going to that level. And I think that's probably the biggest mistake. But it's also that this thing is still so new for a lot of us, right? There's been a few people that have been playing for a while, but this is the first time that a lot of us have had access to something like this. So I do think it's really powerful, but I love your approach. And this is kind of how we've been using it too, more like a sounding board. Like if I am going to restructure a course, what could it look like? So let's just go back to absolute basics. Let's see what it says. All right. Oh, well, that's interesting. Maybe we've gone too advanced on this section in our current course, or whatever it is. It's a great sounding board, but also that you can just keep diving deeper. So it's not these surface level questions, as you said. It's like, cool, what's the next question? What if we looked at it from this way? What else could be missing? And so like the child mind approach with it, because they say to treat it like a child, even though it's got all this information. But if you approach it with, like as a kid, like anything's possible, let's assume the answer's in here, but the questions that I'm asking it might not be the right ones yet, or how else can I ask this or give it information or context? That's really where the power is.
I saw this awesome video on TubeBuddy's channel. By the way, I'm an affiliate for TubeBuddy. You can learn more at productiveinsights.com/TubeBuddy. They took the top 5 performing videos. They went to their advanced analytics on their YouTube channel, took 5 or 6 top performing videos, put the titles of the videos into ChatGPT and said, my channel has been doing well for these particular titles recently. Can you recommend more titles? I tried it on my own channel and it was amazing. It gives you some great quality suggestions that you might not have otherwise thought of. My point being, again, the quality of the information you put in there and the level of detail you put in there has a direct correlation with the quality of the output that you get and the specificity of the output that you get, which is what you need if you want to make an impact and you want to gain attention in a very attention deficit environment.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And think of it as like a conversation that you're having with someone that you've never met before, right? They could ask you a question. You don't have enough context to give them a very detailed answer. So if you're going to give them any answer at all, it could be a question, like to clarify, like when you say this, what's your use case, where you're at, where, something advanced, beginner, whatever, or you're coming back with something super generic and say, cool, here's what I do. But it could be take it or leave it from their side, because there is more information that they haven't given you. It's like someone's asking, what's the best camera? My first question back to them is, what have you looked at so far? right? What have you narrowed it down to? Because there's that many options, and they're not just asking out of the blue, like, oh, I've got to get a camera. What should I get? They've probably given some thought, or there's some requirements, restrictions around budget, their use case, the types of videos they're making.